Yes, everybody, it is FEM Talk Tuesday, and as you can see, our very own Brandy, the disconnector, is super excited tonight. We have a great show for you all tonight. We are going to be talking about mental health, and if you haven't gotten your FEM Talk merch yet, check out Brandy's t-shirt. We have t-shirts and mugs and water bottles. Look at that. That's right. Here, I'm going to do the Vanna for you, the Vanna White.
I love it. It's so comfortable too.
Yes, yes, I love it. I love it. So, everybody, without further delay, we're going to bring the other ladies, the wonderful ladies of Fem Talk, into the room. Hey, hey, it's me, Melissa, girl, bossed up. She's got her Fem Talk merch, and it is She Talks with her Fem Talk merch as well. I feel so left out. I have to get my Fem Talk merch, and
Yay.
everybody's drinking out of a mug. I do have a mug tonight because I'm always drinking tea, but I have to get my Fem Talk merch and a water bottle. Love that. Everybody, make sure that you are getting your
Yeah.
water in for the day. Daily dose of water. All right.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello, hello, hello.
We were
Right.
doing the Vanna White thing, you know.
Yes. Yes.
Get our merch.
I'll do it for you while everybody holds up their merch.
Gotta find the
There we
camera.
go. So as you see, everybody who knows us, if you are just coming back for this Fem Talk Tuesday, you know we like to have fun. If you are brand new to the show, we like to have fun. But we have
Yeah.
two amazing ladies waiting backstage because we are going to get into this subject, mental health. And if you all know that, especially during the pandemic, they were saying that mental health is going to be the new pandemic. All right. So, what do you guys think about that statement in general? Because mental health has been around for a long time, and I know that the pandemic has really touched a lot of the hearts and minds of people. But what do you think about the statement of mental health being the new pandemic?
I don't
It is
agree.
absolutely true.
I don't
I,
agree.
I agree because I had a really rough Friday, and it is just because of a lot of inconsideration and apathy that I encountered from a lot of people that day. I
Mhm.
just wanted to have a nice meal with my husband. It's like everywhere you went, people had like rotten attitudes, just
Mm.
expected to be treated in a manner that isn't consistent with the attitude that you're giving me. So
Mhm.
I was like, it literally made me second guess humanity for a moment, my
Mhm.
Friday, because like it's like it if you're
Wow.
working, like do your job to the best of your ability, because there are people out here that's willing to come out here, smile, be happy, pay
Mhm.
you extra, and love on you and appreciate the fact that you are here working.
Yeah.
But you let the few people that are basically the jackasses of society completely
Mm.
switch your mood around, and then my experience is horrible. And I can't be the only one that feels like this.
Mhm.
I'm
But
fully recovered now, though.
there
Yeah.
are those days. There are those days. So I have a
Yeah.
question for you before we get into like the subject completely. However, I have a question for you. So was there anything that happened your morning before? Like was there anything within you that was going on before you got to all of those people that were giving you, their rudeness, so to speak? Was there
Actually,
anything?
Mm.
my day started off wonderfully. I
Okay.
started off reading. I got my exercise in. I stretched.
Mm-hmm.
I had a smoothie for breakfast. And
Mm-hmm.
then my day started going a little bit sideways, like during my coaching session. And then I had to catch up with my mother and have a conversation with her that was very important. And then
Mm-hmm.
it kind of started to snowball from there. But
Mm-hmm.
even after the conversation I had with my mom, which was a tough conversation, but it needed to be had,
Mm-hmm.
I was still in a good mood. And then I got home and I was like, let's go grab something to eat. But something in me had been triggered at that point. I think it was, I've been holding on to a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that day, it's like it all came out
I
all at
think it's
once.
the
Like,
lens.
like when I say like, I like a switch in the back of my mind completely
Mm-hmm.
flipped.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
done for that night. Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted
Yeah.
I just wanted to eat a sandwich and go to bed. I just wanted the
Yeah.
day to be over.
Yeah.
It was just
I
that
think
over
the
the top.
lens, once the
Yeah.
lens opens, that happens. Like
Right.
like you said, what it I don't know if I would could like I know Mimi was getting ready to say something
Mm-mm.
about the on the opposite. I think because we have been able to slow down and really pay attention to stuff. So now you're just seeing it better.
Yeah.
I agree that I don't think this is the pandemic version of mental illness, but I absolutely believe that, hey, Alicia, that it's your eyes are more open to it. And if you're a person that already saw it and recognized it, it's like intense now.
Yeah.
Because we've had crime and we've had mental illness happening, but now we've had time to be quiet. The world was quiet. Everything had a moment, and now it's like, I don't know, the lens was broken.
Time to process.
A lot of people realized during the pandemic, when everybody had to fall back from their jobs and everything, how expendable they were. And I think that had something to do with the level of apathy and just inconsideration and disrespect that I see everywhere. And it sometimes it gets to me, but more often than not, I'm just like, that's a shame. I look forward to when it gets better.
Yeah.
I
think the pandemic. Oh, where'd she go? I think the pandemic it opened everybody's eyes to mental illness, to stress, to anxiety. I don't think any, for myself and all of that, all the people that I know, what was deep seated was coming out. Exactly what Shima said, what Brandy said, in a sense where the triggers were hit. And it became more acceptable to admit you had a problem. I think after, you talk about your Simone Biles, you talk about you talk about the swimmer.
The tennis player.
Right. Why can I remember his name?
Naomi Osaka is who you're talking
the young
about.
Naomi Osaka, but the swimmer that won all the gold medals
Michael Phelps?
Michael Phelps, yeah.
In his admission to the issues he had with mental illness, and just more and more people are coming out. Taraji P. Henson, she came out and started really a force behind that. I think more people open up their mouths. And I say this to say, I remember as a parent, I didn't want nobody to give my children tags or call them anything. Even if I saw as a parent that they had issues, I didn't want the school to label them, because I knew what their labels would do. But it didn't. I wasn't blinded to what I knew I was seen as a mother. You know what I'm saying? And I protected them from that. In this season, I'm much more comfortable with them, with them dealing with that and even seeking more help, because now I think there's so much more acceptance to any kind of mental issues that you may have, things that you're dealing with. I'm more comfortable saying it. I remember people would look at me and say, "You don't need to tell everybody your business." I remember people telling me that.
But I want you guys I want you guys to put a pin in that, because we're going into the subject. And we about to touch on some really good key items here. So I want us to put a pin in that, because I want us to be able to discuss that with the beautiful ladies that are backstage as well. And I had another hot topic. This is just a little funny one to put a little joke in there. So what does everybody think about the fact that Tom Brady has now come out of retirement after 40 days? Right. Look at Mimi's face there, everybody. Exactly.
He said, we knew he wasn't going to sit down just yet.
Exactly. So
really?
He's what, like 40 years old? But he's
40, he's 44. He'll be 45 when the season starts. And everybody's, he wasn't ready. I mean, he still wanted, he had the most yardage of any quarterback this season. Come on. And I think what he needed was a break.
Yeah.
His health is wonderful.
Yeah.
His stamina is out of this control, out of this world.
Yeah. So I have to, you guys know, okay, so I love Tom Brady and his wife for that reason, right? Because
health, right?
Because of what they do to their bodies. Okay, oh my gosh. So I get excited just talking about them, and I like reading about them not for football, even though I respect his game. I definitely respect his game. But the fact that he can stretch his body so much further than other football stars have done is because he takes care of himself so well. They have some serious protocols on what they eat. And I mean, they eat super healthy. They're like into macronutrients. And oh my God, I geek out on it. I absolutely love it. They're really into it, and they're super healthy. And this is why Tom Brady is playing for so long at the level that he's playing at, because of the way he treats his body. So I had to put it in there. I'm sorry, I had to.
Yeah, I mean, he could probably go another 3 years.
Yeah,
most likely. And, you know, good for him.
Yeah,
I think everybody's happy. Everybody can't, you know, everybody's excited about him, you know, not going away yet.
Yeah.
I don't think it was his time. And I think when you, especially at that level, you know,
that's right, man.
Go, you know, and the money doesn't hurt either.
The money helps a lot.
It helps, exactly. But money's not going to be an issue for him. Once he gets the endorsements, other opportunities, he already makes a good billion. But anyway, I think, you know, especially when you go out, I think you also want to be celebrated. Let him announce a year ahead, and let every, you know, because it's like, you know, when you see the real big ones go out, you know, Mariano Rivera, Derek Jeter, you know, when they left, they had a whole year to kind of, in every stadium they went to, they were celebrated. He deserves that.
Right.
Yeah.
He deserves that celebration.
Shall we bring in our special, wonderful, amazing guests now, love?
Yes, but let us introduce these wonderful ladies. Let us introduce. So you want me to start here? I'm going to start with the absolutely amazing Laura Cabrera. I absolutely love this wonderful young woman. So I'm going to read her bio to you. She is a mental health awareness advocate. She likes to encourage and bring hope to the suffering, and I can attest to that because she's just a beautiful spirit. Mental illness is not a life sentence, is what she says, and that is absolutely true. There are techniques and strategies that have helped her transform her life through major depression, self-limiting beliefs, suicide, and self-harm. There's so much hope, she says. And if you listen to this wonderful woman speak, if you are connected with her, you will hear that hope through everything that she says. Her and I have had some really great conversations, and she is a light, a true light. She says, I'm here to encourage you to be trauma-informed, educate yourself, and move your body to break the patterns taught to us by our families. So please bring in the beautiful Laura Cabrera.
Hey, Laura.
Yay. Welcome.
Yay.
Yes.
How are you?
Good. I'm very good. I feel very good, and I'm happy to be here.
Yes. We are glad to have you here.
Wonderful to have you, love.
Thank you.
So our second guest that's joining us this evening, her name is Ebony Willis. She is absolutely wonderful, very, very bright young lady, not only in spirit, but also in her intellect. I love the level of how she thinks, as well as just how she connects with people. She is also trauma coach, which is why she is very close to our hearts, because all of us have those things that we have been through that we need to work through. And this young lady has the heart for it. You know, there are people that call themselves coaches, and they're coaches and they're only for the money. This young lady truly believes in what she does, and we are so excited to have her on the show this evening as well. So please welcome Ebony Willis to the show as well.
Yay! Woo woo!
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Welcome.
So
the fans are loving you guys. They are sending you hearts and claps and all kinds of wonderful things.
Yes, they are. So I want to ask everybody, and especially our two beautiful guests, what is mental health to you?
I don't know if you want to go first, Laura, or you want me to speak.
What is mental health to you?
She's asking you.
Go ahead, Ebony.
Okay. So mental health to me is everything. It's so important. I think it's very well needed for people to tap into it and understand how important it really is. It can be something that is very overlooked, and people don't think that, they think if I take care of my body, if I take care of the way I look, my appearance and everything else should be okay. But that's not true, you know. It goes very deep, and sometimes if it's not taken care of, it can affect so many different things. So for me, it's very important. I think it's the biggest thing, especially today, like you guys were talking about with the pandemic and everything. And I think it just kind of gave the opportunity for people to focus on it more. You know, instead of trying to push it away and just keep going through autopilot, going to work, doing things, and not paying attention to it. Now they actually had to sit there and you can't just, you know, ignore it now. You know, you're not so busy. You have time to really focus on it. And I think that's what kind of brought it out so much. Because, you know, it's there, but sometimes you can just keep going and going and going and trying to ignore it. Then it kind of blows up and, you know, everything else happens. But I think it's very important. It's very important to me as well.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Ebony.
Oh, yes, you're welcome.
So now, Laura, what about you?
Mental health for me is super, super important. I think that it's about communicating your feelings and your needs, expressing things that come up. Sometimes we feel, how do we say, we have these feelings that are inside of us that we don't know how to communicate, right? And we get stuck in our mind, in our thoughts, and when we keep that inside of ourselves, it makes our mental health decline, and we're not able to articulate or speak of the things that are bothering us, and it affects all our relationships, because when we're not able to communicate our feelings, sometimes we tend to assume things, or are afraid to ask things directly to get, sometimes we go around things instead of going to the person and saying, I'm feeling this type of way, or me and you having a problem. And I think that's what happens to me is I assume things, and when I assume things, I'm wrong. It's mental health is vital to everything,
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
So now I want to go ahead, Shima. It looks like you were gonna ask a question, make a comment.
Both of them hit on something that was going through my head while we're talking, because like we were talking earlier about the lens. For me, mental health is more than the things that you see that are wrong. It's more than those triggers or those behaviors or habits that you see in other people that oh, that could needs a little addressing or talking to or about. For me, it is those things that I say without thinking, that I'm so used to saying, about myself or even about others. That was dumb, or that was stupid, or I can't get this right, or it's that self-talk that's not the best. It's that that unsureness. I don't know. It's all the things that you don't see, that doesn't have a face, that doesn't have a name, almost doesn't have a feeling, until, like Laura said, it's all piled up, and now it's the person that sees.
Right.
So good. That's so good. I also think you both talked about communicating what you don't communicate. Many times, when when somebody's at a critical stage in terms of their mental health, is when you start finding out some of the things they've been struggling with. And I think the key, and one of the things that don't happen so often, is communication of those feelings. Communication of those, like you said, Shima, the doubt, the wonder, the self, the self hurt we do to ourselves, the thinking that we're not enough, that we're not good enough, that we can't. All of those things, like, we never even tell people. And I think that's the scary part about mental health, is the lack of communicating those things to anybody, so that we can, number one, get it out, and number two, seek the help that is needed to remedy some of the deep-seated issues that people are just not talking about anymore.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So if we could communicate with the audience, right? And I want to hear from our two experts and then the panel also, but just what those things are. What are those things that give you that self-doubt, that self-hurt, that self-infliction, right? Even if it's not actually physical, but what are you telling yourselves, and why? Why did that come about? Like, what were some things that came up for the two of you that made you have those thoughts or feelings?
You can jump right in.
Yeah.
No protocol here. We just jump in.
For me, the feelings were basically when I couldn't when I saw something right and that I know that it wasn't right, and then it was like kind of questioning my, how do you say, not questioning my sanity. It's more like, in a sense, yeah, questioning your sanity, like especially when they tell you that, they would tell me a lot, oh, that's not true, what's happening, you're just like imagining it. And when you know that you're not imagining, that it's real, and they're saying to you that it's not real, that what you're seeing is all, that's not true. Maybe they're doing it to comfort you, in a sense, but in reality, what it does is just confuses you and makes you go more into yourself, and you start doubting yourself, and doubting, is this, what I'm seeing is true or not true. They're saying something, but they're behaving differently, in a different way. So that's, the confusion when you see people behaving in a certain way, saying certain things, and then they're saying to you, no, that's not true.
Right.
So then that question yourself.
And you doubt yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually does. That you're right with the. You don't want to say it makes you doubt your sanity, but that's exactly what it feels like. Like,
And it's added to,
True.
especially if you're an empath by nature. Like, you
Oh, yeah.
sense stuff before it ever becomes present to other people that doesn't have that gift. And it's like, when it presents itself, it's like, duh, I told you. But in the meantime, you look like a crazy person. So you just got to be comfortable with knowing that you know.
Yeah. And if I could put a word to it, right, that's manipulation. It really is, for someone to try to make you feel or think that's the opposite of what you know to be true, and what you see or feel happening. That's manipulation.
right.
So, and that's in no way the fault of the person who's being told that it's not true, right? It's the fault of the person that's trying to convince them that it's not true. But Ebony, what about you?
For me, I think I had a big problem with self-worth, and not feeling worthy enough to do anything that I kind of wanted to do. I kind of just went with whatever somebody told me to do. I didn't have my own voice. I didn't have an opinion, which I did in my head, but I didn't feel worthy enough to speak on it. And I think that definitely took me back to my trauma that I experienced as a child and things like that. And it took me a very long time to understand that, I am worthy of being who I am, and it's okay to be who I am, but it took a very long time for that. But that was a big thing that I struggled with. I was afraid of how people would react to the way I felt, or, so I kind of just went with whatever the flow was. I went with it, didn't speak about it much. I didn't speak a lot at all, actually. So this is a part of my therapy is to start to speak to people and get it out and
Nice.
express how I feel and understand that it's okay to have your own opinion and be who you want to be. So that was a big part that I struggled with for myself, was that self-worth and not knowing that it's okay to just be who I am. So I had to take a lot of time to find myself and be okay with who I was, no matter what anybody else thought. You know,
Yeah.
everybody has their own opinions and things like that, but sometimes we can really be very critical to our own self. And beat ourselves up, and once we get in our mind and we start thinking and overthinking, and it's just
Yes.
it can be a roller coaster ride after that.
Yeah.
So learning to ground myself and understanding that I'm okay with who I am, and that's all that really mattered. And whoever really truly cared about me and things like that, it would be okay as well. So that
Yeah.
self-worth, that was a big issue for me. So
Yeah. And you mentioned something too, just being able to what has you now being able to use your voice and being comfortable with using your voice.
it definitely took a lot of therapy for me.
Mm.
I was someone that did not want any part of therapy.
Mm.
I didn't want any parts of it. I was just like, nope, that's not for me. I don't think I need that. That's not something that I need.
Mm.
Until you kind of hit that rock bottom uh, place, and you don't know which way to go, but something is wrong. And you definitely need that help. And I was more of the I can fix it myself type of person. And
Mhm.
I had to just kind of hit rock bottom and realize, you know what? I can't fix this. I need a little help. I need to give into it and things like that. I grew up in a community. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I grew up in Bedford-Stuyvesant, but that is not something that's spoken about. It's not
Yeah.
it's not taught that, okay, yes, you can go get help for this. You can go find out
Right.
what's going on with your mental health. It's not
Mhm.
something that is taught. It's not something that's really spoken about.
Mhm.
So it took me to find that in my adult years and try to
Mhm.
figure out this in my adult life. And when I started my therapy sessions, that's when I started to break out of my shell and figure out who I was and find my voice and things like that. And I was so appreciative of it because it really helped me. It really
Mhm.
did. And it was life changing for me. So
Mhm.
when I experienced that, I said, I have a story to tell. I have something that I feel that I can definitely, if I can help one person with it, if I can help somebody else feel better than what they're feeling with my story, then that's what I want to do.
All right.
Amen.
I have a question. How did and I love that you say, another Brooklyn girl, yay,
Oh,
do or
yes.
die. But another, so many people struggle, but you said that when you hit, and a lot of people, they hit rock bottom, but you said then you sought therapy. What made you seek therapy? Because I think a lot of people avoid it.
Mhm.
And I think that's the
Yes.
issue that so many people struggle with. What made you
Mhm.
kind of say, I'm going to get therapy?
Well, for me, I have a medical field background, so I've been in like the medical field for over 15 years. I was a medical assistant, worked with a lot of different doctors and things like that. But when I would have like physical um, problems from anxiety and depression, and my
Mhm.
body I would get chest pains and have palpitations and things like that. That's when it got a little too far, where I was like, okay, I got to go to the doctor. And I'm telling them, no, no, something's wrong with my heart. I know it. Like, something's going on. Like, they're like, no, you're having an anxiety attack. I'm like, anxiety attack, like what in the
Yeah.
world is that? Like, and
Yeah.
I knew what it was, but I just never experienced it for myself.
Mhm.
And when they started to offer me medication, oh, you can take this or you can use this, and I was thinking, okay, no, this is not the way I want to go. Let me
Mhm.
see if there's someplace else I can get some help and see if that works for me first. So I always was
That's right.
aware of therapy and psychologists and things like that, but I just always in my head thought, no, I don't need that. That's not for
Mhm.
me. I'm okay. I can just push on. One of the biggest things my therapist said to me, she said to me, "Why did it take you so long to get here?"
Mhm.
And And I said, gosh, I really don't know. I said, a part of me almost feels like it's so much other things going on in the world, like my little bitty problems
Right.
that I don't need to, I don't need to focus on that, and she looked at me and she goes, no, that, that's really wrong, and I realized that that's what I was doing to myself for so
Yes.
long. I was telling myself that I didn't matter, and that it was just other things out here in the world that was bigger than me. And when that kind of clicked for me, that's when it all changed.
Wow.
So that was a big step for me. And you're right, a lot of people they don't even want to discuss the thought about going to therapy. Um, so it was a blessing for me to be able to take that step. And it did take me a long time. I mean, I scheduled appointments and rescheduled them and missed appointments. And so until I finally had to like kick myself, like get in there and do it, So, but
I
it was
wanted
a
to bring up
journey.
something that Ebony mentioned, because there's two key points that I want everybody to think about, right? One was the fact that you said, I didn't really believe in going to therapy, and that's really common, particularly for the Black community, right? We just, you hear it when you're younger, right? You go talk to your minister, you talk to somebody in your family, but
Right.
they
Don't
say
tell
go
those people.
right. You don't you don't go to a therapist.
Don't tell your
So,
business, right?
yeah,
Come on.
That's
exactly.
right.
Come on. Don't tell your business.
Exactly. So I just wanted to mention to people that therapy is good. So if you feel like you need help and sometimes you need that outside kind of objective, somebody to look at things on a larger scale and not people that are so close to you. Sometimes you don't want to hear what the people that are so close to you have to say. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention too is that you talked about minimizing your problems,
That's
like,
right.
saying that, it's not that serious, because it's
Right.
you. And I wanted to just mention that to people too, not to minimize yourself and what you're feeling and what you're thinking, but to seek the help, because everything that you feel and think is important, just as important as anybody else. So I just wanted to mention those 2 points so that people could really catch that, because that was really key what you
Yeah.
mentioned there.
And Tracy, also, you said it so beautifully that the physical reaction to your mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And so often people don't realize, like it took me years ago when I was going to my coach and she said, Melissa, where do you feel this pain at?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what? She says, you're feeling bad today. Where do you feel it at? And I looked at her and I said, I could feel it. I didn't even know there was a connection of my mental state to my physical state.
Yeah.
And then when I closed my eyes, I said, I think it's in my stomach. She said, that's where you feel anxiety. So locate, that connection that when you have anxiety or you have depression or when you have any kind of, mental, stress on yourself, there's a physical reaction to it. And to locate that, and I think if more people located that, they wouldn't be running to the doctor trying to find something or self-medicating themselves trying to get rid of these symptoms when the real symptom is really about conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just wanted, can you put Kathy's comment up there again? Because she said, when my mom died, I went to counseling. So much more was going on that I didn't even realize, from childhood to my adulthood. So you see what therapy and counseling can do for you. It can bring up some things that you didn't even really know existed. And those triggers for you could have been, or those things that you noticed in your body, it could be headaches, stomach aches, heart palpitations, those things that come up can be from some deeper issue that Mimi just mentioned and Ebony just mentioned, that you don't even realize is going on until you go to counseling and start to explore what's really happening in your thought process, right? In your emotions. So thank you, Kathy, for making that comment also. So I wanted to ask, Laura too, what has worked for you? What have you done that has helped you?
Well, my depression, how do I say it, is mostly like I suffer inside. So what has helped me um has been, definitely the exercise and doing the routine,
Mm,
um the gratitude, writing my gratitude list has helped me. And then when I'm really depressed, or when I go into a really deep depression, moving my body definitely. I learned that from my transformational growth coach Sarai too. To move your body,
Yeah.
to shock it into, so you can get out of
Different.
Yeah.
the big depression.
Yeah.
And that has been little things that have helped me. And also taking my Thrive class with my coach
Mm-hmm.
has helped me to get better. And you know and I also, comforting others that go through it. Oh wow, that is just like helping other people
Yeah.
that go through the same thing really helps a lot. It's
Yes.
it's not only for them but for you too, and
Mm-hmm.
that has helped me as well.
So good. That's so good. So I wanted to give Sarai a shout out because we love her too. She's been on the show and she is a licensed professional. So if anybody out there is looking for a great therapist, reach out to Sarai Namor. But I love that you talked about doing some of the physical things and feeding your mind, fueling your body and feeding your mind to
Absolutely.
help yourself to get over that. So that's also key. So I just wanted to mention that too. Um, but we are going to take a break right here. We love everybody for all these comments. There's so much support and love
It
that
is.
here. And I just wanted to mention too, while everybody is putting the comments out there, that if there's anybody out there that's suffering in silence, even if you just read these comments, you can see that you are not alone.
Absolutely.
There are so many people
Yes.
out there, just like our guests and even ourselves, right? But there's so many people out there that are mentioning the help that they've gotten, how things have come up for them. So it's more common than people like to admit, than society,
Absolutely.
right? I'm going to put the quotes up. Than
Yeah.
society likes to admit. It's a lot more common, and so if you need help, reach out for help. Get yourself a therapist, look for a great coach or a counselor, but don't be afraid to do that because it is a lot more common than people want you to think. So we're
You
gonna
said the
take.
key thing. God.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say
I
you
was
said the
gonna say,
key thing, the different options, because
yeah,
it's not cookie cutter. It's
that's
not
right.
Right.
laying on the couch and
That's right.
spilling all your beans. It doesn't always happen that way.
That's
So
right. And thank you for saying that, Shima, because
yeah,
that's right. And that's why I wanted to mention the different areas that you can go to. It could be a
yeah.
coach, a
People shy
counselor, a
away from it
therapist.
because of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. But it needs to look like what's best for you, period.
Absolutely,
That's it. Do what's
that's
best
the
for you.
perfect answer. Yeah.
So we're gonna get into our segment really quickly, and then from yours truly, and then we are going to come back so that we can talk more on mental health with these beautiful ladies.
Be right back.
Hey, everyone, it is Tracy, and it is Whole Living with the Reset Coach. And I just wanted to share with you this evening about beating the belly bloat. So this is something that I put out on social media the other day, but it's something that we women, as we continue to get older, sometimes we struggle with this. So I want to help you with some daily things that you can do that's going to help you to beat that belly bloat. Things that we usually take for granted, but these are things that you want to make sure that you are doing regularly, like I said, on a daily basis. So the first thing is making sure that you are drinking significant amounts of water. And the rule of thumb there is to make sure that you are getting at least half your body weight in fluid ounces of water. Now, if you can get in a gallon a day without running too much to the bathroom, and I will say this, you do get used to it once you continue to do it, but if you can get through that for the day, make sure that you are drinking that much water. You want to also make sure that you are consuming fiber, everyone. So fiber is really key to digestion, and it will help to kill that belly bloat. So you want to make sure that you're getting in that fiber. Make sure that the fiber that you are consuming is not refined and processed. So you want to do your sprouted grains, your quinoas, your whole wheats. You want to make sure that you are getting in that non-refined, non-processed fiber. And you can find fiber also in a lot of your leafy greens and all of your cruciferous vegetables. So you want to make sure to get in that fiber. The next thing is, and this is something that our beautiful ladies mentioned, Laura mentioned as we were talking about mental health, but make sure that you are moving your body daily. Now, my rule is to get some type of movement every day. It doesn't have to be some rigorous exercise routine every day, but if you can get out, take a walk, go for a bike ride, to get in a swim, something that's going to allow you to move your body, it is also going to help to kill that belly bloat. The next thing I wanted to mention is to make sure that you are eating in regular intervals. It does make a difference. When you have a regular routine and a regular schedule, it is something that also your digestive system gets used to. So you want to make sure that you're eating somewhat on a routine. You also want to make sure that your body is in line and with the universe. I'll just put it that way. You want to make sure that you're in line. So you want to eat at regular intervals, get that digestive system going. So that's another thing. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention to you is to take a probiotic on a daily basis. Once again, these are all things that are going to help your digestive system to get moving, process that food properly, and move it through and out of your body. So make sure that you are taking a probiotic as well. So this has been Tracy, the Reset Coach, on beating the belly bloat, everyone. Take care, and we will get back to the program. All right, and we are back. And if you guys just looked at that commercial, that was the Power of We Symposium. So who is coming with us to Chicago on April 28th for the Power of We Symposium? If you need tickets, go to thepowerofwesymposium.com and get your tickets and meet us in Chicago. All right. So we want to get back to this wonderful conversation that we have been having. Before we left for break, we were just talking about really therapy, everyone, and saying that it's okay to get help, and it doesn't have to look like anybody else's. You know, it doesn't have to be what your mom said or your dad said or your sister said. It needs to be what works for you. So I just wanted to talk to the ladies, to our beautiful guests, and just talk to everyone out there about, other things that they can do, things that you want to mention to everybody out there, because you guys are getting so much love and everybody's mentioning some things that have come up for them. So I want you guys to talk from your perspective, from your experiences, and just talk to them about the things that they can do, the things that have continued to help you, the things that you do now going forward after identifying your traumas, your triggers, your depression after identifying that, and now what you do to continuously help yourself?
I would kind of say for me, is that I don't hold back how I feel any longer.
That's a
I
good
speak
one.
on it. Um, if something is bothering me, whether if it's in a friendship, a relationship, at work, anything, whatever I feel I'm not comfortable with or is upsetting me, I speak on it now. Which
That's
it took me a long time to get there, but I don't let it go.
Yeah.
um, I make sure, in a respectful, mannerable way, but it's okay to speak how you feel. And if something is hurting you or if something's bothering you, it's okay to let it be known.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you lose a lot of people through that process because they're used to you always being that yes person. And I'm just going to accept whatever it is that you give me. But not no, not anymore. It took a lot of growth for me to be able to say, this is what I want. This is how I feel, and be okay with it.
yeah.
So I think that was a big thing for me, and I practice it every day now, moving forward.
Yeah.
'Cause I always put others before me, and I had to learn that it's something I had to change. And so sometimes that's kind of taken for your weakness when someone sees how genuine and nice you can be, and how caring you are. Sometimes it's just not. It's not. Sometimes it can be a bad thing because you kind of tend to put yourself second and last. And but now I understand how to balance that out and make sure I speak how I feel.
Yeah, that's so good. And you want to make sure that you're it's not a detriment to you, right? Whatever
That's
that
right.
is. And
Yes.
sometimes, listen, we have to either let people go or just put them in certain places,
That's
right?
right. Yes.
And be okay with that because you don't let everybody go. So that's not what I'm saying. But at the same time, there's places where people need to go so that you can put them. Okay, they need to go over here
Yes, that's
because I
right.
need to take care of me right now. And when I'm good, I'll get back
Absolutely.
to them, right? But
Yeah,
sometimes you have to put people to the side for a minute, so
it's
that you
true.
make sure you're okay.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of say. I'll love them from a distance.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah,
I still
Way
love
over
you,
there.
but I've got to kind of keep you over here.
yeah, yeah.
Right,
I
right.
love that you said that because I relate to the fact you talked about your self-worth, and I know that was my huge struggle for many years. And when that comes with it, what usually comes with that is looking for, you're always trying to please people.
Yeah.
Right.
You're always trying to, get their acceptance. I was always looking for love and their acceptance. So being able to get over that or deal with that, and it's hard to push people aside when you are always looking for their approval. So I love that you said you had to work on that. You had to work on being more honest, because
Yes.
so many people struggle with that sense of who I am I worth anything? And when you get to that stage, I think it's just amazing that you can now finally put make give people perspective in terms of, not that
Absolutely.
I don't love you, but you just can't do what you want to do in my life anymore.
Yeah.
Right. That's
Yeah.
Right.
right.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
it's an ongoing thing. Once you learn it, doesn't mean you've learned it and you don't ever have to use it again. You're always going to have to use it because, like Ebony said, it's your nature to be nice and to be helpful and to give. And you don't want to lose that, but you also
Right.
want to know the boundaries.
Right.
You want to have a balance. And
Right.
like Raymond said in the comments, you want to be able to set those boundaries and know that like you said, I can still love you from a distance,
Yeah.
but this is how I'm going to love you now.
Yeah.
And this is how I'm going to allow you to love me.
Yeah.
Something I learned recently about myself is I set boundaries based on my level of sensitivity in the moment. There are times that I can tolerate being around people that have toxic behaviors, but because I love them, I'll stay with them. But there are times that I'm too sensitive to be around that person, and their toxicity, whether active or not, indirectly affects my emotional state. Learn that about myself, my boundaries shift. If I'm able, if my wall is tough, if I've solidified my foundation with gratitude and I'm just in a very good headspace, I'll spend that time with those folks that need to be loved on, but somehow still can't pull their head out of their rear ends to love on themselves and stop taking advantage of everybody around them. And then there are times I'm like, I cannot. Because if I put myself, it'll shift my whole dynamic and it'll affect other things, and I'm not willing to allow that to happen. So boundaries, you got to. If you're somebody that's sensitive, like those of us on this screen tend to be, it's all right to shift. It helps me keep my sanity intact.
Yeah. And listen, sometimes you don't answer the phone or be okay with saying no, or right? Like sometimes you just have to do that to protect yourself and the person, because you don't want to hurt other people. And they may be going through something just as much as you may be going through something. So protect the both of you. Be able to either say, you know what, I'm going to have to put them on pause for a minute, right? Or I just have to be able to say no. So thank you for that. I wanted to give Laura an opportunity too, before we have to close the show, to give any closing remarks, any advice as well.
I'm working on boundaries. I'm still like constantly redirecting my mind, and I think it's going to be something that's going to be ongoing for the rest of my life. And I think it's important to protect your space and your mental space, because sometimes things can trigger you, and if you have a lot of like open tabs going on around and you're multitasking this and that, something can slip in and you could like at that moment just, so you have to be like mindful all the time and be kind of like how do I say, when something comes, you have to like always be aware of it, and so you can always be
ready.
Right.
Right. I love that you gave that visual, because the open
tabs, right?
That whole thing.
You just saw everybody's face. We're like, yeah,
that was so good.
All the open tabs, it slows down the function.
Yeah.
That's right.
I just got a serious visual. Yeah.
That was
it happens.
We need to put that on something.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's so true. So true. And we don't notice that those open tabs, you let everything in, and you're not closing anything. That's I love that you mentioned boundaries with that. Close those tabs, and because a lot of us, let's be honest, we don't know how to create boundaries. That's why we have these struggles. So we don't know how to really establish that. But like that protection, close some of those tabs in your life, so that you don't have to get those triggers just kind of come at you when you're not expecting it. I love that. That was
learn to think around the guilt until it becomes
automatic. Yeah. And we're so quick to
for saying, nah, I'm gonna need you to stay over here, and then you're like, okay, I feel peaceful now because they're over here. So now I don't feel guilty, because now that I'm peaceful, it means my household works better. Now that I'm peaceful, it means I have time to conduct myself differently on a high level for my clients that I'm working with. That's how you get rid of that guilt that you sometimes feel when you start creating those boundaries.
Yeah.
We have no problem protecting our physical selves, because if something harm is coming to you, you're quick to protect yourself or to guard yourself. So why wouldn't you protect your mind? You do it with your heart. Those who love hard and like me, wear your heart on your sleeve. You protect that. Your brain, your mental state is the same. Create those boundaries and close those tabs so that you can protect that same space. It's also a safe space. We have so many, and we're so quick to neglect that one.
It's okay.
I love that.
That gave me another visual too, because you're talking about like if somebody's coming at you, like you're gonna something to guard yourself. So like if somebody's if they're speaking toxicity to you, put the hands up. You know what I mean? Sometimes they may need a visual. You know how not too long ago, right? But it used to be talk to the hand, right? Well,
right.
Talk to the
Are you trying not to date yourself, Tracy?
I know.
Not too long ago.
But I think
Because
also
I'm
with that,
25 over and over again.
right? And also with that is it is learning how to put your hand up and say stop.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is learning how to or being bold enough. Sometimes the fear just to stand up to people is part of the problem.
Yeah.
That's right.
So learning how to kind of defend yourself, like going to class, learning defense mechanisms, going to the coach, reading some books on how to defend yourself mentally, how to protect yourself mentally.
Yeah.
I think all of those things are some of the techniques our wonderful women were talking about today. I love that, Ebony talked about, I talk every day. I express myself every day. That's training yourself to defend your mind.
Yeah.
That's right.
Laura talked about the boundaries. She's saying, defending yourself to protect your mind. And so I think those are the things we just all, like, I love it. I'm just going to take all of it today and still work on it, because you're right. We're all still, everything's not 100.
Yeah. And listen, this is a journey. It's just like Shima mentioned, right, with the physical, right? And I'm big into the physical, right? But it's a journey. It's a practice. It's an everyday practice. When you're taking care of your mind, when you're taking care of your body, it is a practice. It's not something that you stop. This is for a lifetime. Right. It's a lifestyle for a lifetime. So just continue along that journey, everybody.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true. I love it. I love it. You have blown my mind with the open tabs.
Right.
I'm trying not to type it in the chat right now.
You can.
Like,
that might be listen, I'm putting it out there, right? I'm speaking into you, Laura, but I think that should be like on the cover of your book.
There you go.
I was whispering.
A bunch of open tabs with little titles on them.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, yes.
So amazing.
Yes.
Little segments for the evaluation.
Look, Sarai agrees with me too. But listen, everybody, this has been another wonderful episode of FEM Talk. We want to thank Laura and Ebony for being here with us.
Thank you.
Tonight. You ladies will have to come back. You are absolutely amazing. Thank you for being so open and honest and sharing with us. And everybody out there, catch us again next Tuesday. Goodness gracious, it's FEM Talk Tuesday, not Wednesday. Evening at 8:30 p.m. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh, snap.
We ended early today. We were on time today.
What's going on in the background, Brandy?